Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Today is Wednesday, July the 15th. Yesterday, we had core CPI. You can see the markets, we're still actually stuck inside this range here on the higher time frames. Initial bullish reaction, but I ended up basically consolidating the rest of the day. We are moving a little bit here in the overnight session. Today, we have a couple more earnings. We have core PPI right in the morning at 8:30. So kind of similar game plan to yesterday. We'll go over some charts and then we will wait until core PPI, which is in roughly about 20 minutes or so. And then we'll develop our game plan from there. But yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. What's up, Kelvin, J10? Good morning, Maria, Cody, B Roots, Knight. What's up, Gerald, Courtney? Froze, good morning, Juan. What's up, everyone? Sarah, Sinna, Robert, Carlos, Andrea. Good morning, Deuce, Ron, Bobby, Z Norris. What's up, Wallace, Julius? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Good morning. I hope you guys are doing well. Let's head on to the economic calendar and we will get started here. Let me pull this up as well. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so what are some of the news events that we have coming into today? First of all, we have core PPI that is going to be at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. As I mentioned, we'll just wait for the next 20 minutes and then we'll wait for the core PPI news release. And then we also have the PPI month over month. Yesterday, what we also had was the Fed chair testifying. So Fed Warsh is testifying once again at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then tomorrow we have the core retail sales. We have the retail sales month over month, plus the unemployment claims here as well. And then President Trump is going to be speaking at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then on Friday, of course, we have the prelim consumer sentiment. So as you can see, the rest of the week here, we do have quite a bit of red folder news. As for some of the some of the earnings that we do have, AEHR was in the after hours yesterday. This morning, we have ASML. In the after hours, we have United. The couple big ones to keep in mind tomorrow, right before market opens, UNH along with TSM. And then we also have Netflix tomorrow after close. Okay. Just to keep you guys updated on that, we'll take a look at AEHR, sorry, along with ASML, and then now we'll head on to some charts here on the higher time frames. Okay, we'll head on to some of the major tech names that we have coming into today, and then we will head on to some other tickers as well. Let me just grab some water here. In the meantime, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, I appreciate if you guys drop a like. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watches, of course, that is in the description below here as well. Alrighty, let's start off here on the major indices. Starting off with the QQQ, the best time frame is the hourly time frame currently. Of course, the daily chart we can take a look at as well, but this one more so is just consolidating inside of this higher time frame kind of downtrend break that we have forming. We have this wedge pattern forming here as well. You can see tighter consolidation. Prices gravitating in a very tighter range, and we're about to have a break towards the upside. If you can get above that 730, or of course the break underneath, we can see a push towards the downside. So on the hourly chart, this is, as I mentioned, by far the best time frame to keep an eye out for the Qs is our 705 to the 725. This is the key levels that we have marked out yesterday. As I mentioned, we had an initial bullish reaction here on the QQQ. That was, of course, with CPI, but overall, we're still technically inside this range. So It was bullish intraday, but ultimately sold off coming to market open, and we just kind of consolidated. We were above our previous day highs, so you can see we're leaning slightly bullish, but overall we weren't above our 725. We were above equilibrium, which was our 717. So we had slightly intraday bullish, and now you can see currently for at least the QQQ, we are actually rejecting here off our 725. So until we can get above our 725, you can see multiple touches off this area. What we like to see is the break above, hold above our 725 for continuation towards the upside. This is by far the best case scenario for, of course, long positions above our 725. What we don't want to see, which is a very possible scenario, is the rejection here off our 725, and we push right back down in towards that 717 here and potentially below. So for the Qs, this one ranging until we can break outside this range, as I mentioned, we want to be a little bit more cautious, right? Trading inside here, this like 717, right? There are opportunities, but you just have to be a little bit more patient just because nothing is as clear with this range that we have on the Qs. If we go on to the NQ chart, basically the exact same levels that we have marked out. What we have here is our 30,000 all the way down into our 29,200. These are the key technical levels that we have marked out. You can see so far in the pre-market, we're having a little bit of reaction off this area and most likely going to gravitate down in towards that 29,800. So as you can see, this is the key level. If you do want to see some upside, as I mentioned, best case for longs is going to be above our previous day highs, above our 30,000 for a break outside of this range for a continuation. What could very much well happen in this case is the pop, fade, and we come right back down in towards that 29,600 here on the NQ. Let's now head on to the SPY chart. All right, so for the SPY, fairly similar thesis. The SPY, of course, is a little bit stronger than the QQQ. As you can see, this one's closer to the top of the range, building up higher lows, as you can see here as well. But for the SPY, we are having a little bit of a tough time just kind of around this general area, which of course at this point is that all-time highs. We want to see that break above, hold for that push towards the upside. For the SPY, the key levels that we have marked out is our 752. You can see yesterday we ended up spiking above our 752 in the pre-market, but we ended up rejecting here off our Monday's highs and coming right back and basically having an inside bar day, but not quite because in the pre-market we had a pretty big initial reaction. So for today and moving forward here on the SPY, the levels that we still have marked out, this is a pretty big zone that we could have, but we can kind of refine this a little bit if we like. But we have our previous day highs marked out, which is very key. As you can see, touch here on Monday, touch here on Tuesday, another touch in the pre-market as well. So if we do want to see some upside, let me actually just get rid of this very briefly and just redraw this level. So the key levels that I have for the SPY coming to market open is going to be that 752 along with our 754. If you want to see some upside, best case scenario above our previous day highs for a potential move back towards the upside. Another possible scenario is going to be the hold of that 752 for that push back towards the upside here as well, back up and towards that 755. So these are the two long case scenarios here for the SPY chart coming into market open. There's a possibility that we could very much well reject here off our previous day highs and just kind of come back towards the downside. Right, the key level, as I mentioned, is going to be that previous day highs if we do want to flip back above. So longs above our previous day highs or a potential reclaim setup above our previous day highs for a pushback towards the upside. If we look at the ES, the key levels that we have marked out on the hourly time frame, more so the range that we have, which in this case is our 75.80 down into our 74.80. As you can see, we're trying to break outside this range, but a couple times where we kind of rejected off this general area. I would like to see for the ES, similar kind of thesis to the SPY, the hold of that 75.80 or now preferably the break above our previous day highs would be a good scenario for continuation. So above our 75.80 or now above our 76.20 for continuation. All right, with that being said, let's head on to the SMH. We'll head on to a couple other indices here, and then we will head on to some tech names. Let's take a look at the SMH here on the hourly time frame. Okay, what's up, everyone? Good morning. Hope you guys are doing well. Yeah, let's take a look at some of the semiconductors here. So on the hourly time frame, semis yesterday we had an initial pretty strong reaction right before market open. We had a pretty nice move on the semis, ultimately sold off, held our previous day highs, and now you can see we're kind of right back at the area that we were at in the pre-market. We're right at our previous day highs here as well. Regardless, for the SMH, I'd say we're still more so consolidating here on the higher time frames. The best level that we want to see break here on the SMH is above our 615. That's going to ignite the move back on the semiconductors back above this area. Right now, with us being right above our really 600, we're still somewhat bullish here in the markets. But in this case, I'd like to see a best case scenario above this 620, 615. If we zoom out even a little bit more, you can see this is kind of the general area that we broke down from. So if we can flip back above, that's going to be a good sign. Bullish momentum here in the markets. We can break kind of market structure here on the hourly chart. And this would be a good sign for a potential pushback towards the upside. So back above that 620 is going to be key here on the SMH. If we go into the lower time frames, at least for today, not really too much to talk about. We can also mark out that previous day highs potential hold for a push up in towards our pre-market highs, which is kind of this general area that we had from yesterday here as well. As for the IWM, this one is more so still consolidating here on the higher time frames, but this one looks good. Higher lows are being built for the IWM here on the hourly time frame. We would like to see now the break back above our 296. This is a key level here at a minimum. If we can break back above this level, then we can be looking for a potential flip back up in towards our all-time highs here on the IWM. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go on to some tech names that we have here now as well. If you guys do have any charts or any tickers, we have core PPI in roughly 10 minutes. So we'll go over some charts and any tickers. We'll be able to get through the tech names here in about 10 minutes. And then we'll head on to PPI and then we'll kind of develop our game plan from there. But if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can now drop them in the chat. If you guys are enjoying this so far, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. If you guys haven't joined the free daily watch list, that of course is in the description below here as well. Okay, let's talk about Tesla. Good morning, what's up? Air quality sucks right now. Yeah, in Canada, it's pretty hot. I think we got hit with a heat wave. I think yesterday was probably the hottest day of the year, and it's pretty humid as well. But yeah, for Tesla, let's take a look at this one on the higher time frames. Currently, we're just kind of bouncing off a key level support that we do have, which in this case is our 392. Right now, you can see we're kind of building up lower highs here as well. So every single pop has been shorted on Tesla. We like to see the break back above our previous day highs, which potentially could kind of ignite some momentum for a pushback towards the upside. If you're looking at this one on the hourly chart, key levels that we have marked out is our 402. So if we can break back above our 402 flip, we can see a push back up in towards our 406 and above here on Tesla. If we want to see continuation lower down in towards this 390, there is a potential scenario underneath our pre-market lows, or sorry, our previous day lows. We can see a flip and we can see potential continuation lower underneath this previous day lows. We can see our 390. So Tesla, be open to playing both sides on this one. Let's take a look at AMD here. AMD yesterday was one of our main watches for continuation. Ultimately, this one was not able to break outside this range. You can see we have multiple touches right off this key area, right? Touch here, touch here, touch here. We were showing a lot of strength in the pre-market. AMD opened up, ended up rejecting right off the bat. You can see a bunch of sellers stepping in off this 560. So this is still our key technical area for AMD. If we can break back above our 560, still interested in the setup here, above our 560, flip for a potential move back towards the upside here on AMD. What I don't want to see is kind of this like pop fade rejection back down in towards that 540. But for Tesla, keep an eye, sorry, for AMD, keep an eye on this 560. Still bullish here on the higher time frames, but we're going to need to see the hold, but we're going to need to see the break and hold of this 560 if you want to see any sort of continuation towards the upside. Yesterday, I tried reclaiming it later into the day, but ultimately we had a weak daily candle close. We need to see the break and hold above 560 for a pushback towards the upside. Let's talk about NVIDIA. NVIDIA is holding up nicely. Daily charts holding up here as well. Key technical levels that we have marked out. Yesterday, the key levels that we talked about here was our 205, so our previous level of resistance now is turning into support. Bullish in the pre-market, drop within the first 15 minutes, but ended up holding this 205, and we push back up and towards this 212, which is one of our key technical levels here on the higher time frames. Plus, this is our previous all-time highs from last year. So NVIDIA is right back at a key technical spot. You can see we rejected here once, broke above, used it as a retest, and then flip back underneath. And I can see another touch here. So for NVIDIA moving forward, this is the line in the sand. If we can break above, we can look for another potential flip back towards the upside. If we ultimately reject off this area, which we could, we can see a move right back down in towards our 200 key psychological level. So for NVIDIA today, in a very key technical spot, key levels that we're going to keep an eye out for is just going to be that previous day highs along with this general area. If we can break above, right, hold up, so there's two scenarios for today, either the break and retest or the hold right here, right off this 211.50, or now above our previous day highs for continuation towards the upside. So these are the two scenarios that we have for NVIDIA for today. I'm not that interested in shorting NVIDIA. You could be looking for kind of this like previous day high rejection reversal trade. I don't really necessarily like this setup for the rejection offer 212 unless strong sellers stepped in. But for NVIDIA, you can be open to playing both sides here. We are at a key technical spot as well. This one is definitely a lot stronger compared to the overall markets, at least this week so far. Qs, more so consolidation yesterday. NVIDIA was one of the only names that ended up having a nice push towards the upside. But those are the levels that we have for today. Let's just kind of speed run the rest of the tickers. Apple, this one opened up underneath that previous all-time highs. We did have an initial reaction here. Seems like we had some news in the pre-market, and now this one is right back at our previous day highs along with our key technical level. So just keep an eye out on Apple above our previous day highs for continuation, or the break back underneath. You can see this flip. As for Google, key levels that we have marked out is going to be the bottom of the range, which in this case is our 350. Nice buyers that stepped in here yesterday. Microsoft, buyers are stepping in off our key technical level here as well. So some software names are showing a little bit more strength as of recent within the past couple of days. Not a lot of strength in the software sector, but you can see a couple names bouncing here. Some names are definitely a little bit stronger compared to the rest of the tickers. As for Meta, this one ended up reclaiming back above. Meta is actually going to be one of my main watches above our previous day highs for a push back up in towards our top of the range, which is our 676. So that's what we have on Meta coming to market open. Amazon, key levels that we have marked out is our 250 still. Until we can break above that 250, I'll be a little sorry, something was stuck in my throat. But for Amazon, key levels that we have is our 250. If we can break above 250, we can see a little bit more continuation towards the upside. As for SpaceX, this one, Netflix, this one has earnings on Thursday. SpaceX, this one has been showing a little bit more weakness. Every pop has kind of been shorted. We talked about the next level is going to be down in towards 135, which is the IPO price or pre-IPO price that was originally the target. So 135 is a good spot for SpaceX. All right, we have about 2 minutes here until core PPI, so we'll just be waiting for that here now as well. I see a couple questions in the chat. I see a couple tickers that you guys are dropping here as well. So I'll just answer some questions for the next couple minutes until core PPI here. Is anyone having issues with WAP? What are some of your issues that you do have? If you do, you can open up a help ticket in the Discord, or you can message WAP support for some help. Oh, was there a forest fire? I was not aware of that. For some reason, I'm not getting the free daily watch. If you got the free daily watch list, last week I was a little bit busy because I had like a temporary setup. So I didn't have my normal setup, but this week I've been posting it back in the free daily watch list. So you should be getting that. Make sure to check your email, JT. Meta also has a green engulfing. Yeah, Meta looks good as of recent. This one had some bullish news. Yesterday, you can see opened up below or inside of its gap, but buyers basically immediately stepped in. Now back above the 660 that we talked about yesterday. If we can flip back above here, and we can see a potential move back up in towards that 670 here and above. All right, we have about 30 seconds until core PPI. We have a little bit of a gap, but not necessarily that bullish because we're kind of just rejecting off our key level of resistance. And now we're back at this previous day highs area. So we'll see the reaction that we have on core PPI. This is about in 10 seconds here. Yeah, the SK Hynix, that one has been moving. Look at the volatility on SK Hynix. This one, recent IPO. Yesterday we ended up gapping up, so we gapped down the day number 2, day number 3 gap up, plus a lot of strong buyers back above this 186 and above our high or IPO high. This one had a pretty big solid move towards the upside. We'll kind of mark out a couple key levels. There's not really too much to base it off of, but previous day highs, previous day lows, and then now we can mark out this 176 potential retest of our 176 or this down close candle or this 180 general area for this pushback up and towards our highs is in play for today. All right. All right, as you can see here for the overall market so far, we're getting a little bit of a bullish reaction, not as big of a move compared to CPI yesterday. We're getting a nice move here on PPI, but not as big relatively speaking to CPI yesterday. So let's take a look at some of the numbers that we have. So as you can see here, we had the core PPI numbers released. Actual was 0.2%, forecasted was 0.3%. The PPI month over month, negative 0.3%. Forecasted was 0% here. So core PPI initial reaction is bullish, not by a lot, and we're still technically underneath our previous day lows. And of course, if we zoom out more on the higher time frames, this doesn't look like that big of a reaction. Yesterday, even the core CPI, pretty big reaction intraday, but not that big relatively speaking to this range. And of course, we're still technically inside of this range. So until we can break outside this range, we're not going to be overly bullish until we can break outside this QQQ range at a minimum. And of course, we need to see price back above our 724 at a minimum for a pushback towards the upside. If we very much if we reject off this area, then we're just going to come right back inside this range here on the overall market. So at least for today, intraday wise, what we're going to have marked out is going to be that previous day highs. As you can see so far, we're seeing some buyers step in here, offer previous day highs, which is a good sign, number one. But if we can flip back above, get above this pre-market highs, get above this 725, that's going to be a good sign for the markets. And of course, for the SPY, above our 75.90, and then we have our previous day highs marked out, which is going to be our 754 on the SPY. If we can flip back above, And then for the ES, it's going to be this 76.20. Okay. With that being said, if you guys do have any charts or any tickers, you guys can drop them in the chat now. We'll go over some for the next 5 to 10 minutes, and then I will talk about the game plan, some of the top watches for today, and then I'm going to call it a session here. Let's take a look at a couple names. Let's see, Palantir. Take a look at this one. Let me pull this up. So Palantir, this one ended up having a nice reclaim. So we had an undercut, reclaim back above key technical levels. If you look at this on the hourly chart, this is a very key spot. If you're looking at this on the daily time frame here as well, buyers stepped in basically exactly where they're supposed to here, which is a very key technical level. We opened up underneath our key level support, but buyers immediately stepped in and we had a pretty strong candle close, right? Basically engulfed the last 4 sessions on the daily time frame here on Palantir. So we had a little bit of consolidation, and then we ended up having a fake out, reclaim, and push back towards the upside here. Key levels that we have marked out on Palantir for today is going to be our 132. This is the top of the range. You can change this color here now as well. So for Palantir, key levels that we have marked out is going to be that 132. You can see a couple touches here in the pre-market. What we now like to see is the hold, flip, and push back up and towards that previous day highs and above. So let's keep an eye on Palantir above our 132, above our previous day highs here is in play. MU, let's take a look at this one. A couple of these semiconductors starting to base here above key technical levels. Not extremely bullish, but right now with it consolidating, if we can break back above our previous day highs, that's going to be key. So for MU, let's just mark out that previous day highs, 990. If we can break back above, let's look for that long back towards the upside here, above our previous day highs, above our high that we created here from last week. Only way I'm interested in more shorts is underneath our previous day lows. We can see a potential room down in towards that 940 and below. As for SNDK, key levels that we're going to have marked out previous day highs here, flip above this 1800 for continuation. INTC, this one is gapping up here in the pre-market. Similar thing to yesterday, gapping up above our previous day highs, but sold off. Ended up bouncing the rest of the day. Once again, gapping up above our previous day highs. Let's keep an eye out on our previous day highs here. Let's actually draw at this level here as well. For INTC, key levels coming to today, we have a couple key levels. We kind of have this high that we have marked out all the way back from Friday of last week up into that Thursday's lows. For INTC, the main level is going to be that previous day highs. If you can maintain above that previous day highs, you can see a hold for a push higher, or now back above our 111 for a push back towards the upside here as well on INTC. WDC holding up. This one needs to see it back above our 600 for any sort of continuation back towards the upside. Let's take a look at SK Hynix here. As I mentioned, this was a recent IPO that ended up having a nice push. Key levels that we're going to have marked out is just going to be this 176. Other levels that we're going to have marked out here as well is going to be that previous day high. So for SK Hynix, best case scenario for a pullback long is going to be the hold of our 176, which is that IPO day. And plus you can see we kind of had a break and retest yesterday as well, above our 176 for continuation back towards the upside. As for a few other tickers here, MRVL, this one is starting to find some buyers here off this daily gap fill. This is exactly the area I would like to see a potential bounce play from for a move back towards the upside. Dell is looking really solid. This one is closing fairly bullish here. So for Dell, this one is pushing back up in towards our all-time highs. Key levels that we have marked out. Yesterday, we ended up breaking above our previous day highs and reclaiming back above our key technical levels, which is that 145, the original breakout level. So for Dell, you can see nice buyers that stepped in yesterday. At least for today here on Dell, let's keep an eye on our previous day highs. The break above, hold. Sorry, we can see a potential move up in towards our all-time highs and above. So Dell's like one of the stronger tickers, at least within the past week or so. And of course, on the daily chart, this one's back at all-time highs compared to most tickers which aren't at highs. So let's keep an eye on Dell for potential breakout today for continuation. We do have to be a little bit cautious. It could kind of just come up into that all-time highs, reject, and we could fade right back towards the downside and kind of create this like upper wick here on the daily chart, which could very much well happen. So we do want to be a little bit cautious. Dell is going to move higher first. Is it going to sustain and have a strong candle close? That we'll see, but at least for Dell, we can see a push higher right off the bat above our previous day highs into this all-time highs level. So we'll keep an eye out on Dell. TSM has earnings, of course, coming up. Hood, keep an eye out on Robinhood. Right now, we're bouncing off the bottom of the range. Above our previous day highs, we can see a push back up and towards that 120. So keep an eye out on Robinhood. Now for a flip back above our previous day highs, we can see a move back up and towards this 120 as I mentioned. So all right, so there's a couple of tickers to keep an eye out for coming to market open, of course, with the markets bouncing here, which is nice. We had a couple other names. AEHR had some earnings in the after hours. This one looks solid. AEHR ended up having a nice break and retest. Break above our previous all-time highs. Not quite came all the way back down and towards that 50, but so far you can see buyers are stepping in. This is, well, this is a nice like 50% retracement. If you draw the fib extension here up into that high, this is basically a 50%, 61.8 in the golden pocket. Nice buyers that stepped in, of course, with earnings up about 32% here in the after hours. Key levels that we have for AHR is number one, the area that we broke down from, which is really this right here. 88, we broke down from this level. Now we're reclaiming back above. So moving forward, we just like to see it maintain above this area. As long as you can maintain above 88, we can be looking for a higher low for that continued pushback towards the upside. If the level isn't clear, do you think, yeah, you can use the Heikin Ashis if his level isn't as clear? I personally just like using the basic candlestick patterns. IBM, this one had a big drop the other day, gap down. If we're looking at this on the weekly time frame, IBM recently hit our all-time highs. There's actually a lot of volatility here. We had a nice bounce, push up in towards our all-time highs, came back, retested, and of course, technicals aren't going to matter as much besides the major news events. So earnings was the major factor that we had. And you can see we had a pretty big gap down. We had some guidance as well in this one, which really was the main driving factor on why the stock dropped. But in this case, we are coming back into a key level of support. We would like to see AHR bounce off this area, which we've bounced off multiple times. In this case, it's basically our 220 right now. With a lot of momentum towards the downside, 220 break is not going to look good on IBM. The 220 break, you can see room down in towards really 180 here on the higher time frame. So I'll be a little bit more cautious. We'll see if we can get a potential kind of bounce right off that 220. But the break underneath is going to send this down in towards 200 and below. But yeah, with that being said, for the overall markets here for today, we're not out the blue. So same game plan as yesterday, right? We're going to be a little bit more patient until we break outside this range. I'm going to be a little bit more patient. If we can break outside, then we can be looking for more trends here in the market. So just be a little bit more patient here since the Q still technically has not broken outside this range and we're not out of the clear as of yet. Similar thing here with SPY. SPY is leading the markets. We're leaning a slightly bullish more on the SPY because we're at the top of the range and we could very much well break out and push up in towards that 756. So I'm leaning slightly bullish today, of course, with their reaction. If we can get above our previous day highs, hold, that's going to be a great sign for the markets for a pushback up in towards that all-time high. Similar thing here with the Qs. If we can get that break of our previous day highs, hold, we could be looking for that upside today, back up in towards that 727 here on the higher time frames. As for the main watches coming to market open, we'll keep an eye out on AMD, still the break back above that 560. NVIDIA, we'll keep an eye on the break above our previous day highs. Some other tickers that I do like here, Apple reclaiming back above our previous day highs. Let's keep an eye out on a flip here on Apple. As for Meta, I do like this one here as well, back above our previous day highs, flip up in towards that 676. So main watches, we'll keep an eye out on AMD, NVIDIA, Apple, Meta, And then, of course, there's a bunch of other semis that are looking good if we can break above our previous day highs. So MU above previous day highs, INTC, let's see if any buyers want to step in above our previous day highs. Other names we can keep an eye out for is SK Hynix above our 176 for a potential bounce play for a move back towards the upside. Yeah, that's going to be it for me today. Hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, appreciate if you guys drop a like and sub. And with that being said, if you guys haven't joined the free daily watches, sorry, that's in the description below. And with that being said, I'll see you guys all tomorrow. All right, take care, everyone. Have a great rest of the day. Peace.